Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Farah Sachs. Joining me today, I'm so privileged. I have the Patch of Heaven Sanctuary with me, the Chief Experience Officer, Suzanne Jewell. And joining her as well is Communication Leader for Leadership Miami, Lillian Raji. Thank you both for coming and being part of this wonderful time together. And I'm just so excited. I feel a Zen ready to happen. I feel like heaven has arrived on earth.
Beautiful. We're thrilled to be here. I couldn't be happier to be here. And it's going to be a great, I think, opportunity to connect.
And what I find really interesting is how did this partnership with Leadership Miami and the Patch of Heaven come together?
So Leadership Miami, I'm actually part of Class 44. Leadership Miami is an organization that brings together the future leaders of Miami. They bring us together to learn valuable traits towards leadership development, focus sessions, meeting leaders within the Miami community. Part of our graduating the program requires us to complete a project, and Leadership Miami has a history of working with local nonprofits. So we've worked with Pace School for Girls. We've worked with Glory House, all these amazing nonprofits who need additional support. So it's interesting, the story of Patch of Heaven, because I had to ask in preparation for this interview, like, how did Patch of Heaven get selected? Because this is different from what we normally do. And Julissa Rivera, who is in charge of selecting nonprofits, she told me, she said, well, Lillian, what happens is we work with these amazing nonprofits who help the disadvantaged. But then the question became, what about the people who help the disadvantaged? What about those who are actually in the social workers, the nurses, all of them who are helping? What are we doing for them? So when Suzanne Jewell came to us with her concept for the Mindful Pocket Park, Julissa was floored, was overwhelmed. Like, this is perfect. Let us still help the nonprofits, but let's give an aid to the people that are helping the disadvantaged.
Wow. And you went to them and said, what?
Well, I will.
Something tells me that there was a little hand in like helping this along, because your energy is contagious. And how can they not say no to what you're trying to accomplish, especially for the good of a community, which I think is the most important reason why we're sitting here. Because I felt your passion, I felt your heart, and I said, I just want to be on board for this. So I'm so glad that you came to us for this opportunity to share the story and how we can help as a community.
I think that word is probably the most important word to share here today, which is community. And underneath it is the thread of unity of what ties us all together. And I had a little history with Leadership Miami's sponsoring organization, which is the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. And it is their commitment to that program. 2 years ago, at the beginning of COVID, I actually was one of the facilitators to help young children with one of the nonprofits called ABF Learning Center. We were originally going to do a mindful yoga garden and experience, and COVID happened. So I
created pivot.
And so we pivoted and created an on-air Mindful Way for Kids training program. And so at that time, I was not at Patch of Heaven Sanctuary. I came to Patch of Heaven in February of last year. And it has been a dream of mine to want to build an actual space where nature and mindfulness and the neuroscience of what happens when you are in nature, it can reduce your cortisol levels. When you learn mindfulness, which will actually give you a little example of what happens when you learn how to let your whirly mind or your monkey mind calm down, you combine the two of those, and you've basically got a nature pill that is the antidote to stress.
So let's talk a little bit about your background. Like, what brought you to this moment of knowing that there's something out there other than you have a very hectic background of a lot of workings, and you just one day woke up and said, I think mindfulness is it.
We're that simple.
Yeah, bingo. I know that, you struggle with some health issues. So, sometimes there's a wake-up call. And if we heed the call, we can really change ourselves, change the world, and make a difference. So what happened with you?
In my case, I was and I still will say the word recovering global TV executive. I moved down to Miami almost 2.5 decades ago to oversee a joint venture for the Cisneros family and helped launch $150 million distribution in 47 countries around the world, lived on a plane. And in that journey also then realized that I did not have good self-care tactics. And in the midst of that process of the evolution of my career, I had one of those moments where I was living in Miami. My mother was dying of cancer in Michigan. That time I'd left the TV industry and had my own agency, and I was working for the Gates Foundation in Ethiopia. And when my mother passed, I proverbially hit the wall and burned out. And when I burned out and I started to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, I did two things. I started walking in parks and I became a connoisseur of green space. I realized that when I spent time in Morningside Park or in Lemon City Library Park or in Bayside or literally became a connoisseur. I also was going through this process of learning mindfulness meditation, which is about how to pay attention on purpose in the moment, non-judgmentally, and with curiosity. And that's about being present here now. It's not about transcending this moment. It's not about going to the fifth dimension. It's about an actual active way to manage a dysregulated nervous system. Most of us right now, especially according to what's happening with the CDC, are experiencing unprecedented levels of stress and anxiety in today's world.
So this is because of COVID, because of a shutdown, because the kids were home with their parents, because the parents couldn't work in a job that they thought that they needed to go to. So this all contributed to where we are today. And,
Yes.
and this project, this mindful pocket park that is happening at the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, so there's a partnership happening between the two organizations.
Absolutely. Yes.
And
well, I have to say so the way Leadership Miami is broken down, we have 4 different teams, and our team, we won Miami Team 1. We had to pick between 4 different amazing nonprofits: Patch of Heaven, the Girl Scouts, 305 Pink Pack, which I think is an amazing cause. They're raising money to help provide wigs for ethnically diverse wigs for cancer survivors, and then Baptist Healthcare. I personally love this project. The minute that it was up, it was displayed, I said, I hope we get this project, because I have been a mindfulness person for, I think my email to Suzanne once we got the project was, I'm so excited. I've been practicing meditation for 25 years as an executive as well. It's helped me through some very difficult and challenging periods of my life.
absolutely.
So it's been an amazing time. So when Leadership Miami, when we were selected for, it became what it was meant to be, which is my team got this Patch of Heaven project, which again, it's an amazing opportunity. We always think about safe spaces for disadvantaged people, but now we have safe spaces for people who help the disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you grew up, your background is in Nigeria.
Yes.
You're in Atlanta, New York. I mean, you're a jet setter yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I take 2 or 3 international trips per year. It's slowed down since COVID, but before COVID, it was a frequent thing. And for me personally, I live in Miami and New York. It was before Atlanta and New York. So I used to fly back and forth, 3 weeks in New York, 2 weeks in Atlanta, back and forth.
Very
So,
stressful.
very stressful. Everybody thinks it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, no, the logistics of it really isn't. It sounds glamorous, but the logistics of it really wears down on your body.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So hence comes forth the Mindful Pocket Park.
Yeah.
And let's, I know, and you brought a couple of accoutrements on the table. So let's
I
get
did.
into a little bit about meditation in this moment now. And then we'll get into the sanctuary and how folks can get involved with
Beautiful.
what the community is doing to fund this beautiful project, and how they can get involved as well.
So
with
I'm going to
the-
ask you a couple of questions. Do you have
Uh-oh.
any idea
Uh-oh.
how many thoughts you have on a daily basis?
Knowing my monkey mind goes 24/7.
Yeah.
So it's probably, I'd say 80,000, and probably 40,000 don't serve me well.
Well, you are probably a lot more educated than most then, because what I'm going to use this for is to represent to you that your mind is basically like this shiny glitter jar.
Oh, it's because I'm creative. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm always
This-
having the glam on.
Here's
glitter,
the interesting thing,
glitter,
though.
glitter.
You have 70,000 thoughts a day.
Oh, close.
80% of them are repetitive.
Right.
Another 80% of those are negative.
Got it.
We don't understand the nature of the mind, and we think that by agitating the mind, because we're all running around looking after shiny objects, all these shiny objects. Oh my gosh, I could do that. I could do that. I should respond to that. No, what's on the social media? Where should I go? What's the ping? It actually is damaging our nervous system and our ability to stay present. And what it requires is that you actually simply, and I'm going to have you just keep looking at this as I'm speaking.
All right. If I fall asleep, everybody just know
Learn.
this has been the community voice.
There you
and
go.
The pet.
Learn how to actually just pay attention gently as you sit here and as I speak to you slowly. Notice what's going on about, first and foremost, where your breath is in your body. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to sit on a meditation cushion. Just keep your eye on that. And what I'm going to invite you to do additionally is my other lovely little audio visual tool is I'm going to invite you to breathe in through your nose. Let the air sit for 1 second. Push your lips together like a straw. Breathe in again. Let the air circulate. Press out like a straw. And then without my direction. Notice your sense of calm. Notice how you've begun to settle. Notice what happens to your thoughts and all your agitation and all the shiny objects. And what occurs is that was only 3 breaths. And when you do this, you access not only more oxygen because you're breathing in the front of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, you are helping settle down your nervous system because most of us are walking around right now in a state of hypervigilance. We have perceived that speed is the way to live well. Multitasking is actually a myth. And human beings are losing their capacity to focus and pay attention. So what nature does and why all of this matters to Patch is that if you're in one of those whirly moments, one of the wisest ways to arrive right here, right now, is by learning how to pay attention with your senses, or pause.
I love that acronym.
And it's pause and pause.
PAWS.
And it helps you pause.
And what does the acronym stand for?
They stand for the fact that when you pay attention with your senses in the Mindful Pocket Park, which will be the entrance and immersive experience for 25 minutes when you first come to our 20-acre sanctuary.
So why don't we look at that? Let's
take a
look. Why don't you
look.
take us through the journey?
And what you're going to look at here is actually Patch itself. The park is being built, but this will give you an idea of some of what happens. And notice right now, as you're looking at this, the sensation of what it's like to imagine yourself in the old growth forest. This forest is part of the original hammock. This forest has actually got roots that they believe are possibly 300 years old. And that kind of visual experience and sensory experience where you learn how to pay attention with your sight, you learn how to pay attention with your sound or hearing. These are all spaces within Patch in our 20 acres right now that help you activate your sensory present moment experience. But the park itself will actually be a choreographed way that you will go through this, not in the 20 acres, but you'll learn how to actually experience nature through your senses. You're not going there to recreate. You're going there to actually experience it.
And now we're in the koi.
This is in the koi pond area. This is actually all originally a shade container nursery. And this did not exist. This is a 19-foot cenote that is directly built into the aquifer. We are also a space for migrating birds. And what happens when you bring, as Lillian mentioned, someone into both the Mindful Pocket Park and then our sanctuary, because those are the 2 experiences you'll have, who is someone who serves those who serve. That's exactly what we're hoping to do. And those might be frontline workers. Those might be people who are leading nonprofits. Those might be teachers, who are a lot of them experiencing burnout right now. This is your opportunity to come and take the nature pill.
So this is what you're doing right now is a fundraiser, basically.
Yes,
we are
absolutely.
raising funds. Let's get to that, and people can get involved. This is a project that you're having donations happening until the end of November, and people can get involved by helping build this front part of the sanctuary called the Mindful Pocket Park.
Yes.
And that will be 7,500 square feet of deliciousness, of meditation, of getting in touch with one's spirit and mindfulness.
Yes.
Is that correct? And people can donate to www.weonemiami.com.
Now, let me add a little bit extra because you can make a straight donation, but we've
Right.
made it fun to give. So we have
I like fun. I
Yes.
mean, I think our audience
Yes.
likes fun. And
Yes.
you know, like we're a real fun bunch here. Like really we are.
I
can
believe
feel
you.
it.
I believe you. We have a silent auction, which we're getting additional items each day to add to the auction. I just actually got a watch set and I'm adding some jewelry on the auction. So amazing prices. We have a raffle. We have 3 different raffles going on. 2 of them is going to give you a personal experience with Suzanne. So if you love her now, you love her in person. We also have our Take a Seat, which is these gorgeous wooden chairs that are going to be part of the Mindful Pocket Park, where you can have your name embedded forever in the chairs. So there's a couple of different ways. Oh, and of course the Planathon that's coming up, our gardening day.
That's on November 12th and 13th. And
Absolutely.
it's happening at the location, which is in the Redlands at 1900 Southwest 157th Avenue in the Redlands.
Yes. So with that, we just want to go to the website, the we1miami.com website. We ask you to sign up for our newsletter, because the thing we're doing with the Planathon, there's only so many people that we can bring out there, but we are going to be live streaming it. So it's an opportunity for you to have fun, watch the people on our team helping put together Suzanne's vision, while being able to donate for such an important and worthy cause.
And then what you're trying to do to get this really solidified, this new park, is you need to raise $50,000.
Absolutely.
And you have only a certain amount of time to do this.
Less than 100 days.
And they sit here so relaxed. Maybe they took Suzanne's course.
That's exactly what happened.
Breathe with that ball. Give me that ball.
That's how our team is handling it. I think we're on day 49 if we're doing a countdown. So 49 days left. December 1st is the end of the Leadership Miami program. We have to get the funds in by the November 30th. So we are
busy. They are on a deadline. It's a 501c3 South Miami Progress Foundation will be handling that. So
absolutely.
you're secure, and your donations will be taken really good, handled with perfect ease and security, and safe to be able to move forward and help this wonderful organization and really move our city into what a magnificent place it looks like. I haven't been yet. I feel very zen at this moment. And tell me more how else people can get involved.
So one of the things I think that's really asking for our attention right now is the earth and Mother Nature. And we as humans have become very disconnected from that role and our involvement in it. And yet nature, it has been proven by the University of Michigan, 20 minutes in nature will reduce your stress hormone of cortisol. So not only will you become more calm if you actually learn how to breathe in this way, you actually will become more present in your life. And so what we're offering is the world's first opportunity for this kind of nature-based mindfulness support, where there are no side effects. The only benefit that you get is you lower your blood pressure. You will have a more clear thinking capacity. Your nervous system will reset itself, and you will have basically spent time increasing your creativity and your productivity. So why wouldn't you want to take the nature pill at Patch?
Absolutely. Can we see more of Patch's nature pill so we can take a vicarious walk through together if there's more to be seen? So we were left it at the koi fish. He looks so happy there. I want to be there. Can I jump in? What's this?
So this is actually this originally was a shade container nursery. We have regenerated 10 acres in 15 years. This is a lagoon that has 8 different varieties of lotuses in it. And we also care, you can see the bat house there for Florida bonneted bats. And we also care for snails here. Part of what we do at Patch is give sanctuary to trees, bees, birds, bats, butterflies, buildings of the historic kind, and beings of the human kind.
Love it. Let's see the next one.
Oh. This is a beautiful, and it's called Victoria boliviana. It blooms for only 48 hours, that little bloom there. This lotus, if you can see the structures of the ribs alongside the actual leaf, were used to be able to create the Crystal Palace for the very first World's Great Fair.
It looks like I would make a tart in there.
Yeah, and you could stand a child in there of 100 pounds and it would hold it.
Oh, wow. Well, keep going.
This is one of our little residents. We are also a agritourism site, as well as a wildlife sanctuary.
So that's Rocky the raccoon, huh?
Rocky the raccoon, yes. This is probably one of the most memorable spaces at Patch that people remember. This is the pond of stillness that almost looks like a calming jar, but in real life, koi live in there. You can learn what it's like to sit with your own stillness. And then we encourage people to take a silent walk all the way down this boulevard until you actually reach the very end. And when you get there, you'll actually see almost a story-high Buddha statue.
It's very, very Far East feel. There's a lot of interesting statues of some of the roles that I was looking at. It's really a beautiful place.
I've told her when I was there, it brings in memories of southern Spain, the Granada, the Alhambra,
Yes.
Even parts of Morocco I've seen in there.
Right.
And it's Asia. It's like me traveling. Every time I go there, it's like me traveling to any of the countries that I've been to and fall in love all over again.
And it's 20 acres.
20 acres. And one of the most important things that we also need to do more often nowadays is take moments of respite and refuge. So we offer that. You literally can lose your mind and find your soul by coming and spending time with us.
That's wonderful. And in this project that we're doing in the front part of the park, so there's going to be 5 sensory station parks. You can change the jargon. And people go. Is it guided from you, or is it just self-guided, or you just do what you feel like you
So
need?
there will
take
be
from the
2
experience?
ways to experience it.
Mhm.
You're going to be able to have an app where you'll check in with your level of calm and your level of anxiety. That helps you build mindful and emotional awareness. What's my calm right now? What's my anxiety? And then you will actually go through each of the mindful sensory stations, the station of sight, sound, scent, touch, and taste. And all 5 of those will take approximately 2 minutes. You'll then be invited into the meditation circle in the very center, and you'll get a chance to sit on one of those beautiful either teak mushrooms of meditation or one of the teacher seats. And you will go through either be the rock, be the butterfly, or be the tree practice of 10 minutes. And when you're done, the app is going to also say to you then, you just said to me, Farah, that your calm was a 2. Has it changed at all?
Mhm.
You said your anxiety was a 9. Has it reduced at all? We are using the nature cortisol reduction of 20 minutes to actually do a proof of concept to see if we can figure out that it has an impact on you by your own self-reported levels of calm and anxiety.
This is really exciting. When is this project going to be slated to complete?
Well,
Or
our
break ground?
Our
Or-
goal is November 30th, December 1st. We'll see. I'm going to toss that back to Suzanne because I know we have the gardening day, and then after that, there's a schedule beyond that.
Yeah. So we have our goal with Leadership Miami, and we're building out a whole garden. And our goal is to be able to at least have the raw basics laid in around the beginning of December. And then don't forget, things grow. They have to grow. We're also, knock on wood, sourcing a Bodhi tree, which is an actual religious ficus that the Buddha woke up under. That's the name of the tree he woke under, was called the Bodhi tree. We're getting a specimen, one of those, for the actual park itself. Our hope is by the middle of December to be ready for people to walk through.
This is really exciting. So I wish you luck, and I wish you namaste. And if you want to participate in this, for donation, it's We Won Miami. And I want to thank you both for coming. Somehow, Lillian and Suzanne, I just am starting to breathe. And I can't wait to come to the Patch of Heaven Sanctuary. And I want to thank you for joining us today on The Community Voice. I'm Farah Sachs. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for this.